Hey everybody, Dankest Dad here, and today I'm back with another Wildhearts video. All those Midland Showdown deck profiles are still in the incubator coming out, but in the meantime, I'm gonna talk with our good friend Chase here about our Series Zero Kickstarter and finally getting the game in players' hands far and wide. So, Chase, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're here to talk about today?
So I'm the Wild Hearts brand manager when it comes to basically getting the brand out there, whether it be social medias or contacting other content creators, as well as just in general, just trying to get our games, not just the TCG, but all of our games out there into the wild and into as many people's view as possible. So at all times, that is my goal is to just push Wild Hearts onto all you unsuspecting people out there. So that's what my job is. And then here today, we're here to focus in on the Wild Hearts trading card game, which we have our current Kickstarter live for our Series Zero premiere launch of the game. Just like you said, we're trying to get it out here into everyone's hands finally in full force.
Yes, and this is something I'm personally very excited about. I have been playing Wild Hearts now since June 2024, which really is nuts that, 16 months later, the game is finally out and going to be in more people's hands than just the Foundation's Kickstarter event that happened earlier this year. So I'm over the moon. Now, first and foremost, I'm just going to ask you what is going to come with Series Zero in terms of game pieces that players haven't seen if they backed Foundations or had tried out the game at an earlier point?
So, what we're doing here is we're releasing our Series Zero, which is the beginnings of our full set one. This is just the first part of it because we're going to break it up over the course of a year. And then we wanted to release enough pieces so that way people can finally start playing mono styles if they so choose. That was one of our things that we wanted to make it a little bit bigger so that way people can finally do that. Because here up in Foundations, it was just like a sample, like just the starter sets. But now we've got enough cards, brand new cards in the Series Zero to help accompany that.
Very nice. And, for the folks at home, how many of those new cards in each style, roughly speaking, are we going to have in our hands?
For each style, I believe it is 11 cards, or it might be 10, and then we have two new fields, I believe is how it is. So it's going to be, I believe, 42 cards in total in Series Zero, which is different from the starter sets as well as the promo cards included in the Tamer Challenge. So just the booster packs themselves, I believe, is 42 cards in total.
It's pretty sweet. And, as you may have divined from that answer, we are going to be getting those cards in booster packs. So, Chase, why don't we break down what we're going to find in our booster pack here for Series Zero and what kind of cards we'll be looking to see when we open one of those bad boys?
So our booster pack layout is we try to make it as consumer friendly as possible. So one of the things that we really kind of pride ourselves on is the availability of our alternate arts. So these are going to be 1 in 8 packs for our illustrator rares. Do you need these to play and have your play sets? No, but they are really cool pieces to have and to be able to use. In addition to that, we also have 1 in 64 for our chase cards. These are the big ones, the big sought after ones. Again, you don't need these, but they are very cool. Our legendaries, though, are 1 in 4 packs. So in a booster bundle, you get 8 packs. So roughly, you should, in theory, be getting about two per bundle, and then at least a rare minimum. So the rare slot can be that or higher, can be the legendary, and so on there. And then two uncommons, and then four commons. So a nice spread there in total across the booster packs.
Very nice. So, my big takeaway here is I've got a 1 in 64 to get a card with your face on it if they are, in fact, chase cards. So,
Aha. I'm not the only one that makes that joke. Cool.
yeah, you're not alone. So, for these chase cards, though, How many of them are there going to be in this Series Zero?
So there is one per familiar, and there's four familiars because we've got one per style in the booster pack. So we're gonna have four different of these alphas that you can chase after.
Nice. And to clarify, these are not mechanically unique. These are alternate arts of the familiars in the set. But, just because they're not mechanically unique does not mean they are not worth it. These arts are pretty sweet. And if you join in the Wild Hearts Discord, take a look at their Art Sketch Fun channel, you can see some of the early work on these alphas and even see versions for the starter deck familiars, which are quite awesome. And from backing foundations, my alternate arts are my favorites. They are just gorgeous cards. And I know you're a fan of
Yep.
the cave paintings, Chase, but are there any other alternate arts that spark joy or any particular ones you're looking forward to in Series Zero?
Yeah, so our the illustrator rares, not just the alphas, but every single card in the set has an alternate art, a true alternate art. We're not talking just an extended version of the regular version. No, we're talking a completely different artwork dedicated to every single card in the set. So everything, no matter what you're playing, you can find that unique piece that you really really enjoy. And honestly, my favorite style of the different ones that we've got are going to be the pastel ones. They have just a really nice like texture to them, almost like a colored pencil in a way, but more defined because it is paint as opposed to pencil there. And those are my favorites because they still have a great look to them, and then the texturing and everything like that. Those really stand out to me.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, Sacrificial Bonds was my favorite from Foundations, and then the foiling on the Drill Attack promo with Academy is Chef's Kiss. And,
Yeah.
everybody I show these cards to, that seems to be the one that other people gravitate to. And I push a little bit because it's my favorite, but, these are amazing looking cards. So we've seen how the cards look. We talked about that, but let's get into the meat and potatoes here. The thing the card gamers are here for, the card game. So with Series Zero, what new strategies are players gonna be able to get their hands on? Like, what sort of things are these cards promoting? Hodgepodge, or is there a specific direction being pushed?
So, like I was saying earlier, one of the things that we're really kind of zoning in on first is being able to run those mono styles, right? So, if you want to go really, really hard on like one aspect of whatever your style does, you can do that now. Because with the extended amount of cards to choose from, if you want to go like really heavy on your big creatures and might, you can do that. If you're focused in on, ramping and special attacks with special, you can focus in on that. Tactics, it's all about flexibility. That's all it's been from the beginning, is having tons and tons of choices for how you want to use your cards. You're just going to have more to choose from there. But ferocity, I think that's one that's going to really get a little bit more attention because it's had a couple different strategies that it could do, but it was a little stretched thin in what was available. So having the ability to really capitalize on our discard mechanic and getting more synergy there, as well as the KO mechanics, that's really going to be fleshed out really nicely, especially with the new familiar. That's going to really synergize with a lot of those new effects. Well, I say new, but the abundance of them now.
Right. And, being able to just sort of have that critical mass and density is so important for getting that consistent strategy. And, even if the Infernander, as an example, itself has not changed, that ongoing text gets more valuable with more of those tools to fuel the discard strategies that it promotes. So that makes total sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And as the game goes on, those sorts of effects just become better and better just because of the exactly like you said, the density of cards that synergize with it.
Yeah, and I'll address the elephant in the room. So, Randy's been in your shoes before talking to me. You're here now. Both of you clearly unabashed ferocity gamers, And that sort of bias from the community team leaves us tactics players in particular just a little bit, in the dust, wanting. So I know you're not going to take my cards out back with the hatchet like Randy, but sure, tell me there's something good for tactics coming up. Is there like a favorite tactics card you got from the set?
Ooh, a favorite tactics card. That's a
He can't even come up with one. This is unbelievable.
yeah, it's hard to say because like they're all so balanced, right? None like just jump out at you and like this is a must have. Like, oh man, I can't wait to build around this. With tactics for me, because I use tactics in a lot of my decks. It's usually my secondary style that I include with pretty much any other like combination I'm doing. And that's just because they're so flexible and how you can, include them in your deck. And I think that's just great just having more cards that are going to be in that flexibility aspect that fits with tactics, right?
For sure. But we also love a little Vortnail here and there, right? Vroom vroom. We're getting on the board. We're zooming. We are accelerating. I mean, that has to fire the neurons, right?
Oh yeah, I do like having access to some mirror image without worrying about flooding my board with the Trossum. So a little bit of controlled Guardian, pretty nice.
Definitely. And, at least on the special side, I know there are some really cool cards. Reset Spell is one that I think can be a little unassuming on first read, but all it takes is like one or two games playing with or against it, and you can just see how a card like that pops.
Oh yeah, definitely. The I've seen some crazy seeking plays come off of that card just with massive resets, especially towards the end of the game when your opponent might like go all in on one field and they just, put everything they've got into just taking out this one field and you're like, let me just use this little one cost reset spell and you're back to square one. Like, that feels bad.
Yeah, and well, it feels great when you do it.
Yeah, it feels great for one side of the table for sure.
Yep. And like in every game, the person playing blue chooses who has all the fun, right? That's how it works.
Well, we won't talk about those other games though.
No, no. Well, and that leaves Might, and I think we've been talking cards, but Might's got some familiar spice. The Kindolf is definitely a card I'm excited to play with more, and as someone who, as I said, plays other games too, drawing cards does really get me going. That is a fun thing to do, and Kindolf lets you draw maybe too many cards, but can't complain about that.
Yes, Kindolf actually, if anyone familiar with the channel and has seen me play a lot of games, Kindolf is my favorite familiar actually. So yeah, I am here for some card draw, especially in Might, which can often have a little bit of difficulty with the card draw aspect. So being able to do some combinations, say Might with Ferocity, and Ferocity's got all this discard, but now you don't have to worry about running that ferocity with certain other styles with lots of draw. You can now combine it with the might, and you still have your little bit of a draw engine with that Kindle. So the flexibility of being able to combine different styles and different strategies, like it just continues to open up to have more and more synergies that you might not have seen coming before those cards got revealed.
For sure, and familiar with the channel. I see you, Chase. Well done. So, yeah, but yeah, both of us love the Kindle. Really cool card, and we see what's on the table. We see what's coming, and even though it's not here, I gotta ask the question of what comes next. So we see Series Zero now. Does this imply the existence of Series One, maybe Series Two in the future? What are we going to be looking at for the next few months of Wild Hearts?
Absolutely. So Series Zero is just the premier launch. But moving forward from here on out, we're going to be having every set we release, which will be, of course, over the course of a year, one set will be broken down into six different series, one through six. Zero is just a special one time thing, but after this, we'll be having smaller series, so there'll only be 22 cards instead of the big 42 that we've got currently for Zero. And these will just be a lot easier to kind of get into because they're every other month. We want to also make sure, that they're not breaking the bank with such a heavy release schedule, but it's only 22 cards, so you really don't have to get as many as you might think with a normal TCG. So that's what we're looking forward to, for sure, is going to be the future series releases every other month. I believe starting in January. So
Nice. And, asking questions you know the answer to is fun, but for the audience out here, if I'm watching this video sometime next year and Series 2 has come and gone, if I join in at Series 3, is there any way that I can catch up if these cards are going direct to consumer?
yes, 100%. So the benefit of getting in on an active series as it's live on Kickstarter is that in your packs you're going to be able to get those illustrator rares, get those alphas for that particular series. Now, if you're jumping in later on, you can still get those booster packs. They just won't contain the alternate art slot. That slot will be replaced with just an extra card that can be of any of the rarities. So you'll still get the same number of cards in the pack. They're just going to have a bonus slot that's going to be common through your legendaries. So uh, it's still accessible for getting the playsets, being able to have that playability at any time that you jump into the campaign. But we wanted to give something special for those people that come in every single campaign, and that is in the form of getting those really nice foils and alternate arts.
For sure. And, just having the experience of knowing what it's like to catch up in a format where you need to just make such a big initial investment, it can be really daunting. So it's nice to see that, Wild Hearts is being a bit more proactive about trying to make sure that it's a good ecosystem for players to join anytime.
Yes, absolutely. We're trying to be as consumer friendly as possible, and just player friendly as possible for at any point you're trying to get into the game. Of course, we're also available in Discord for those people that have questions, whether you want to ask on a YouTube video specifically. We'll always be happy to reply there. But if we're not getting to you, quick enough, you need a really quick answer, join our Discord because we're pretty much there. I want to say like 20 hours out of the day, we have people covering the channels and replying to questions. So, really great place to get any sort of information that you might need at any time.
For sure. And of course, if you are, a player who is at home playing solo or just doesn't have a local play group, are there other ways that you can get involved with Wild Hearts beyond just, you know, going through the streets of Ohio trying to find people who want to play the game with you, asking for a friend?
Oh, yes. Our online community is ever growing. Between every series release, we are going to be having tournaments and leagues. And that is both for webcam, for those people that got their physical product, but also for those that are coming into the game and they don't have their physical product. They're between series releases and they still want to play in any of our online tournaments. We're also going to be using our Tabletopia mod for leagues and tournaments as well. They won't be going simultaneously, but we will stagger them so that way we'll have both before the next series comes out. That is a huge thing. In addition to that, though, for those people that just like to play in person and with your friends, we're going to be actually releasing ambassador kits and official play kits that you yourselves, you and your friends, you can get together, get one of these kits, and host your own tournament. If that's what you want to do, you can go to your local library, you can go to a friend's house, and you all get together and just host your own tournament. We didn't want to have to rely on only playing tournaments at an LGS, right? Which is the case for a lot of other TCGs out there. As an indie TCG, we accept our place that we cannot compete in, the local scene with these other bigger TCGs having their tournaments. So we want to go directly to the players. The players is what builds a community. No matter if you're in store or out of store, you need those players. And so we want to just go straight to the player. You yourselves can develop your own tournaments however you want, your own leagues, and so on and so forth. So that is a huge boon in my eyes. I know as a TCG player, I've had to build up a community in the past for a certain TCG, and only a little bit of support from the local game store. So being able to just have that direct line to the company itself, I think is a huge like boon for players.
That's awesome. And when I was more in my Hearthstone days, there was a program called Fireside Gatherings that sort of had a similar conceit where it would let people get together for events, and Blizzard would even provide prize support for players who were able to get a big enough crowd. And, that sort of went away with COVID and I think just wasn't a priority anymore. But just sort of having those first party tools for players to build community is amazing. And once again, glad that Wild Hearts is being proactive on that front.
Yes, definitely. The players, like I said, the players is what makes the community. So we're here to support the players building their own communities.
Right. And, some of these communities are of one. So for those true solo players, is there anything else coming with this Kickstarter or down the line that they can look forward to?
A couple of things actually. So we have our solo mode. We released the first one in Foundations with Valentina, but with this campaign, we're going to have a second one to go with it. So you can either play a 1v1 with these automated players that have their own decks that are specific for them, or you can combine them together if you want, and you can do a 2v2 with you and a friend against the two different solo decks, you working together as two players. You can even include them in a 4-person, 3-person free-for-all game as just an additional player to play out with you guys. So two of those are coming, and just a little hint, but we're going to have some other bigger story adventure-esque modes that are basically going to take this concept and we're going to turn it up to 11, and we're going to have a much bigger sort of play that you can do and work through a story mode. So if you anyone that's gotten the lore book in the past or heard about it, but we actually have a growing world that is constantly moving forward with the game itself, and there's a story that's developing in the lore book, and you might see that again here in the future. With the solo mode experience, but like I said, we're going to turn it up to 11 with what is to come with that.
Awesome. All right. So I think here we've asked all the fun questions. We've covered our bases. So now we get to go in here to those hard hitting ones because I love this game. And I am not here because I am being paid or compensated. My compensation is getting people who like this game to play it with me and being able to share something that, took a lot of passion to make and really is awesome with other people. But now I have to ask, right? If players are going to be trying to collect these cards, when it comes to pricing, have the Wild Hearts team looked at what it might cost for a player to get a playset of these cards just by opening boosters? How are we looking there?
I mean, I know that a certain volunteer on the team has done the math, right? I know that it's a pretty low amount because you only need two cards to complete a playset of what you need, and with a small card pool, right? And you're only building a 30 card deck. Like you don't need a ton of cards to get everything you need to build your deck. The exact maths on it, though, I'm not Sure, but I know compared to other TCGs, it's like astronomically low to get a playset of each, common, uncommon, and so on.
As the unnamed volunteer, I agree. But moving moving on from that, so as players are going to be moving into the future, the card design has been great, but has not been put to the big test that is, sort of this larger market release where more people are playing games, learning more about the cards. Does the team have any vision for what changes to cards might look like if necessary? And with the series model, how that might play out if something needs to be changed. I know in other games we've seen banned and restricted, we've seen errata. Does the Wild Hearts team have a policy in mind for that, especially with existing cards being reprinted in the future?
Yes, this has been a topic that's, it never ends really, because it's very important. Before a card goes to print, it's still in testing basically all the way up till the moment we hit that print button. So we want to make sure a card is as balanced as possible, get it play tested. Literally, some of the cards that were in the Midland Showdown got changed right before the Kickstarter went live because we found just a few very very minor tweaks and just a little bit of rebalancing. So all the way up to the moment we hit print, a card can change, right, to make it more balanced for the players. We're trying to focus in on those players as much as possible, like I was saying earlier. So giving a one-sided unbalanced card is definitely not something that we're here to do. We're very much in the horizontal design rather than the ladder of power creep. We want to avoid power creep as much as possible, so that lateral design is huge for us. So introducing a card that's unbalanced is very antithetical to what our purpose is here. So but in case something does slip through the crack, we've talked about it. We are of the mindset of limiting cards and in a very, very dire situation, banning a card if it so happens. But we would much rather limit a card from two to one, right? Because then it's not your huge win con. You're gonna mulligan into it every single time. You've got to see it in your opening hand. We don't want that to be the case. So we would take progressive steps to get to those points.
Right. And the philosophy of that is something we could go into a lot. Like, I can say personally, I'm not an advocate for limiting because I think that if a card creates a negative experience, in my opinion, it's not reasonable that that negative experience just happens a little less. But not every game works that way. It depends on the bones. There's so many things going on, and my perspective obviously is not the be all end all. I am not objectively correct on everything, in spite of what you may hear from me in other places. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's good though to see sort of that back and forth and really kind of understand what the philosophy is, because a lot of the time too it can be nebulous when it seems like a team is trying to sort of take shots in the dark without really this sort of guiding approach to game balance and adjustments. And if, the Wild Hearts team has a clear roadmap for that from day one, I think that's a good sign.
Absolutely. And with the lateral design, we're not trying to keep one upping ourselves, and that helps prevent those cases of having those really unbalanced cards. Because if you're intentionally power creeping your old cards, then absolutely you're going to have those cards that are going to be way too overtuned, and that's just something we want to avoid as much as possible.
For sure. So I think then with that, I don't really have any more questions planned for you, Chase. Is there anything else you would like to say or discuss with me before we call it a show?
I just would really appreciate everybody. If you made it this far in the video, clearly there's something about this game that interests you, and we would love for you to go check out our Kickstarter. We're trying to build up our player count at this point. We just need more players. We want to, introduce these official play, uh, you know, tournaments and things like that, but we need players to do that, of course. So just picking up the two-player starter set, literally our entry point, it's not even a single starter deck. It is a two-player starter set is our entry point into this game. So right out the gate, you have two full-size decks for two players to immediately play with from the moment you get that one box. So, we're really trying to make that barrier of entry as low as absolute possible. And the cards included in the starter decks are literally only available in those starter sets. You won't see any of those cards back into the booster packs, right? So you don't have to feel bad. It's like, well, I'll just skip the starter set if I'm going to get those cards anyway in the booster packs. No, we don't want that to be the case. We don't want you to have to worry about getting chaff or anything like that that you got already. So you get the starter set, you're going to feel good about having those cards because you don't have to worry about getting duplicates in the booster packs. And then also going off of that, we don't have chaff in the form of vanillas, right? There are no cards that just have no effects. We're very much every card we want to feel has a place in a deck. No matter what your play style is, you will be able to find cards that will every single card was going to have some sort of effect that's going to make it fit somewhere. So that is a big thing for me as a player coming into a fresh game of not having to worry about that. But two-player starter sets are always really awesome. So the fact that all the cards are unique to that starter set just makes me feel even better. So please go check out the Kickstarter because I feel like that is a great product just to dip your toes in, see how you like it. This is very much a game that you can watch 100 games, but until you play at least one or two for yourself, then you start to like the light bulbs start to come on, and you realize just how in depth and deep the game truly goes.
Yeah, and it's really a blast. Like, I know you can see my quote on the campaign if you look at the Kickstarter, but like truly I do feel like I learn something new about the game every time I play. And like even still, like I played last night with starter decks with a friend, teaching him, and just seeing some of the interactions and like sequencing my turn, it's like I feel like I've improved as a player from that game. And I don't think there are many other card games where, like at this point, I've probably played triple digit games with starter decks. And I still think there's more meat on that bone. And you know, they're not hard to learn. It's not like the skill floor is so high that a new player can't, pick up the deck play and feel good about what they're doing and have a plan. But the depth is just really there. And just as more cards continue to come out, we keep seeing these new combinations, new strategies. With lateral design, that depth is just going to keep expanding, and it's just a gift that keeps on giving for people that want to invest their time. So,
Absolutely. Yes, I've played so many games over my 2 years playing this game now, and literally I'm still playing with a lot of the starter set cards as well as these Series Zero cards. And every week for community night on Friday nights in the Discord, when we're all getting together and just playing with the community, I can still find combos that I haven't got to do before, and now I'm like, oh, I like this synergy that I didn't consider before. So, and like that's such a good feeling for to be playing a game for that long and still to this day finding new strategies and new combos from such a small pool of starting cards, and it's just gonna get even better from here. Like it just, oh, I cannot wait just series after series and seeing this card pool grow and just, oh, I'm so excited.
yeah, it is a blast. Well, as for Chase and the Wild Hearts team, you can find them in the Wild Hearts Discord. I'm going to have a link down below in this video here for you guys to check out if you want to join the server or check out any of the other social channels where the Wild Hearts team is present. You'll be able to find them from there. But thank you all for watching. Chase, thanks for coming on. You are I don't know what fraction of the man you are that Randy is, but you are you are sufficiently filling the shoes. So thanks for joining.
Thank you.
This was awesome. All
Yep,
right,
thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
for sure. Alrighty, and with that, we'll call it a video. I'll see y'all next